I'm
Go.
recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session here. This is a little virtual training. My name is Coach Ariana.
I'm Coach Nate.
So we just wanted to introduce why we're here today. And the cool thing is we are going to be offering some opportunities for you at the end of this training if you want to take any of these lessons to the next level. So definitely stay tuned for that at the end. Again, this is a recording, so if you guys have any questions, we are here to continuously check in with your comments, and if you have any other questions, feel free to DM us after you watch this in particular. So Nate, I'm going to go ahead and pass the floor on over to you so you can introduce yourself to the group.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Coach Nate. I've been a personal trainer and group instructor for the last 5 years. I've been doing competitive obstacle course racing for about 10 years. And I've been doing kind of fitness consulting at like a tech startup for about 2 years as a production manager, kind of helping scale an audio format for an app company. I've been in the online space for about 7 years, and I run a brand called the Champion Life brand, and I help decision makers at companies use obstacle course racing as a way to grow their teams, their culture, and ultimately their profits. And I do that through kind of some mindset and leadership coaching and some online and in-person stuff. So just kind of helping my clients, get off the sidelines of life and get in the game of life and really live life like a champion. So Ary Anna has her own brand, and I just kind of want to give it over to her, and she'll kind of give you an idea of what she does and kind of her background.
Awesome. Hey guys, so I have been personal training for a little over 6.5 years. I started in the industry as a child athlete in horseback riding, competitive horseback riding, and also did some boxing training for about 5.5 years, still boxing and horseback riding today. So those are my loves, but that really allowed me to get into the industry. So I started off working in the gym at like 17 as a little front desk girl, which then transitioned me into Orange Theory Fitness. I have now worked my way up into a very special team where we only do pre-sales. We help open up the studio from day one until the grand opening day with all the back end sales, and then we flip it over to the main team. So it's a very unique position that I'm in. I also have my online brand that allows me to help reach to a greater audience, which is called Team Karma Fitness. And I've been doing that for about 3.5 years. So we just want to get to know you guys a little bit more for whoever's watching this. We would love if you could down below in the comments, just let us know how long you've been in the fitness industry and where you guys are currently working. Are you doing any form of online fitness training? And in one sentence, like what you'd like to learn from the end of this training. We would love to help you a little bit more specifically afterwards. So feel free to dive in. Now we're going to go ahead and get into 4 mini lessons today on how to get your online training business either started. Some of you may already be online trainers and you're trying to figure out ways to make your systems a little bit better. So this may be an opportunity for you. And then on the other spectrum, some of you may be wanting to really take it to that next level. You have all your bases and now you're ready to build your brand. So there's going to be an opportunity for every trainer in the list here to learn something new today. We're going to be going over just basics of Zoom training versus IG live training. That's going to be the first little mini lesson. Second lesson will just be a quick basic using Zoom as a consultation tool. Third lesson will be talking about social media schedulers and how you can use that to benefit your life. And then fourth, we'll be going over the benefits of having a community group. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the benefits of teaching an IG live class. And then Nate is going to break it down into teaching the benefits of a Zoom class. So you can get an idea of what trainers are currently doing in the market and what might be best for you. So in an IG live class, what are the benefits? So when you sign on and you're on your Instagram and you scroll over to live and you want to teach a format where multiple people can join, this is a great, easy tool. Now, low production, because doesn't cost you a thing. You don't pay for Instagram, so that's awesome. And then as soon as you sign on, your live to tons of people. So that's actually one of the biggest benefits, is that you're reaching a bigger audience at once instead of having to manually invite people into your your video training. Then the second thing is you have that instant connection, because as soon as you do sign on live, one of the benefits of IG is it's going to drop down and let all of your followers know that you've now gone live. So if you've built up a little bit of a repertoire with your followers, that they know Wednesday at 3 p.m. that's your HIIT class, or that's your body strengthening class, or your yoga class, they're going to be able to hit that little live at 3, and it's just going to go straight to you. And super awesome way to connect with your followers, better likelihood of them joining. And then it's a really great reshare value, because anyone can reshare it who's following you to someone who they follow as well. So, hey, Susie, I just did Coach Nate's workout. It was super awesome on IG Live. I think you should do it because you're a Spartan trainer, and I think that you're going to get benefit from it. So send it on over. Super easy. Now, there is no availability to train or form correct when you are on this platform. So that's probably something that you want to address. One of the things that is due to that is because it's very hard to see on a screen too, because you're just looking at yourself, and you're looking at a screen, and you're looking at people's comments. So there's nothing that you can do or see else other than yourself. So it's a little tricky. It's going to throw you off. And then it's hard to tell if people are just watching or doing the video. And if they are doing the video, like I said, you can't form correct. So that's going to be the last little con I'm going to throw at you. Nate, you want to go over some of the benefits of Zoom?
Yeah, so that kind of brings us to the second part, which is, doing your workouts via Zoom, which a lot of trainers have defaulted to, just because it's a little bit easier to set up a meeting, and it's increasing the likelihood of actually your clients showing up. Though you do have to schedule the meeting in advance, though, right? That's one of the cons. But it allows kind of everyone to have that live screen, so you do get that face-to-face element. When you're talking about IG Live, it's kind of like a scroll feed, almost like a comment section. So you really don't get that face-to-face interaction. But on Zoom, you're able to actually get that live screen, and you can actually form correct them on some of the workouts, which is really good. It creates that connection, a little bit more rapport. So it kind of is a better connection, and a little bit more quality of the workout. So they can actually build that rapport with your clients, really creating that face-to-face dynamic, which is important. Also, it creates more of a private community. A lot of the exclusivity of a workout is really, bringing that community together and like building that rapport with them. So you can have kind of those same people showing up at the same time, giving them that link, and you kind of create that own community of, your tribe and your followers, right? So that they can jump in on the video, they can decide not to use the video. It's kind of up to them. And you can also mute a lot of the background noise. You don't have to worry about that noise interfering when they're on the actual call. Now, there are some cons with Zoom. You're going to have sometimes, like a little bit of a delay in the sign in, depending on if you have a waiting room or not. And that can kind of interrupt the teaching. If you don't have that taken off, you're gonna have to like stop and manually add everybody. So there's obviously a way to do that ahead of time, but if you're not as familiar with it, you're gonna kind of be scrambling at the last second. You also have to schedule in advance. If people don't have your link, they can't join your specific Zoom like meeting group. Think of every little Zoom as a specific meeting room. So that makes it a little bit harder to manage. You can create the same type of ongoing one. It's just you have to schedule that in advance. And that's a really important thing. So the other thing is there is a limit to the time frame within Zoom. And it kind of comes down to kind of understanding that like the free version has about a 1 hour time frame. And then I think there's also a 50 or 100 person cap to some of those as well. So you want to keep that in mind. If you have a really big following and you want to do workout in Zoom, you're going to have to find a different version of Zoom in order to accommodate some of that. So the paid version is probably the way to go. The monthly subscription fees aren't too bad, but if you're trying to, startup costs are going to be involved in that. It's like, kind of like a Netflix subscription. So it's not too bad. But you also have to remember the kind of production value is low. So other apps, they are providing, content that you can access easier via streaming, and it's been produced at like a higher tier level, so you're competing against that. So you have to remember in the long term, this is going to be not the greatest way to continue to be the leading part of your content. It should be more of like your private content with your one-on-ones. It shouldn't be continuous content that you're always doing all the time. So keep that in mind.
Yep. So basically, we're not telling you not to do either or. We're just saying to do it as effectively and efficiently possible. Do it
Exactly.
where it matters the most and use it to your strategic benefit. So that way you are either reaching out to your followership and actually helping them, or it's some form of like unique offer that you have for them, or it's just one class you do a week. Don't make this an everyday thing. Use it strategically. So we're just
Exactly.
going to go ahead and move on over to how you can use Zoom as a client consultation tool. So this is a really
Okay.
great thing to be keeping in mind right now, especially that the stay-at-home orders have been extended quite extensively. Not many gyms are going to be coming back in the counties probably until the end of summer if we're lucky. If we're lucky. So that means a lot of coaches are going to be out of face-to-face jobs in a gym setting until then. So how are you going to connect with your new clients meeting them for the first time? Well, you're going to do it on Zoom. So it's going to be
Right.
super easy, just like this.
Yep.
You will
Hmm.
be sending them a link. They'll sign on at a specific time, and that will allow you to chat with them and have that human connection that we're really missing right now. As much as it is another potentially annoying Zoom call to them in their life, it's really going to make a difference that you decided to do it this way versus just picking up the phone and calling them, because they get to see your enthusiasm
Right.
about wanting to change their life. And that's going to be super important as a trainer when we're all trying to differentiate ourselves in this online space. Now we're just a video to them. We're not that energy that we would bring in the
Right.
gym, in the studio, in your one-on-one settings, either in your house or theirs. So that's definitely something you want to remember. Also, it's super easy, like we've been saying, to schedule out in advance. You have a client consultation coming up on Friday. It's Wednesday. Send them the link. They'll
Yep.
RSVP. They'll already have
Hmm.
it saved. You can see if they haven't RSVP'd, which is kind of cool. So if by Friday, let's say your consultation's at 12 p.m., you send them a reminder, 8 a.m. Hey, Susan, it's 8 a.m. Wanting to make sure that you will be attending our 12 p.m. meeting. So if they already have RSVP'd, you don't have to send them that reminder. It's kind of nice.
Right.
But if you know that they're not there, gives you that little additional check-in. Make sure that you're following up with the ones that are needed. Reduce your follow-up in other ways. So another little there. And it'll pop up in the calendar section on their phone or their computer, just depending on what format they use. So
Hmm.
it can be a Google app or an Apple iCloud feature, whatever is easier. And then just note on a call too, just as much as that you can see your enthusiasm and they can see they can express their enthusiasm as well. We can also see if the client also is there just for the freebies.
Right.
And maybe they're just using you to see how cheap you'll get down to. How many free sessions are you offering? Do they look a
Hmm.
little lackluster? Does this maybe not look like a client that you really want to follow up with? Is
Right.
this someone who's a dead lead right away, a warm lead that you may want to follow up with in a couple weeks from now? Or are they like this, glued to their computer, watching every single word come out of your mouth? Well, then that's a
Right.
hot lead you want to follow up with within the next 30 minutes to set up either their first session, etc. So it's a really great tool to use in that sense.
Yeah, and then that kind of brings us to the next part, which is, the content creation side of your business, which is, getting out there on social media and just having some presence on social media so people know about you, right? You don't want to be the best kept secret. You want to get your stuff out there. So that being said, kind of we're talking about social media schedulers. There's plenty of schedulers out there. But the idea here and the intention is that you really want to be able to use these resources so you're not spending all day kind of creating content, right? You want to set aside a day, maybe do it for the week, and then just set it on auto schedule so you can upload it, and it'll just upload it at a schedule that you decide. And that's going to give you time back in your day. And that's going to actually save a lot of the time that you could otherwise be in front of clients, making more money on like client calls and not spending time just head down in front of the computer, not necessarily doing anything, right? There's a ton of options out there that you can choose from. There's some free options and there's some paid versions. And you just got to really find one that kind of fits into your schedule and your life and your business in a way that works well for you. The important thing is that you use one and that you're just out there using it consistently so that you don't have to worry about, you know, sitting down and constantly coming up with new posts day to day to day. That's going to eat up too much of your time. You need to kind of systematize and automatize some of those services.
Perfect. So that leads us into kind of having a community group for your post to be housed in, right? You want to have somewhere where they go to, and then you also want them in a place where it's not just necessarily in your direct feed. You want something that's special to where you are able to host a variety of your unique messaging to a unique group of people who are not maybe every single one of your family members and their sister and their mother and their dog. Okay, so you don't want your post to get lost, essentially. So that's why you want this specific group, because it's going to allow you to continue to pop up in these particular members' feeds with your lessons, your fitness tips, your different posts that you may have scheduled out in advance. Put them in both places. Don't just put them in your main page. Add them here. Another thing is to we can all learn together in this sense. So it becomes more of a group community outside of what you do, let's say in your coaching. So now all of your clients have a place to come in and say, this is a really great lesson that I learned this week from my own research. I wanted to share it with you guys because I know we're all in the same thing and we're all doing this together. So it becomes a little bit more of a space where everyone can coincide. Then you can also do this in a very cheap way. You don't have to have a lot of money put into this to get started. You can do it in like a Facebook group setting or another app that's free to use. There are a couple different options that we will have access to teaching you later on. We want to give you just the baselines right now. The specifics are going to be really important though to your particular brand and how you can use them to the best way possible, because you want to meet your people where they're at. You don't want a Twitter account if no one's on Twitter. So you don't want to be putting all this stuff out there. Same thing with the Facebook group. If you don't have that many people who are following you on Facebook, maybe that's not the best free place for you to source. Maybe sending them something a little bit more tech advanced, etc. Or the opposite, all of your people are on Facebook and you're not. So now you need to get on Facebook and you need to create that group and use it to your best ability. So we just need to kind of see what's working for the individual and then move on from there. But that's actually leading us into what we wanted to talk to you about, which is our opportunity to get started with our 5-day mentorship program. It's going to help you reduce all your overhead of getting started in online business first round. And this is going to have a lot of those more specific tips. So right now, before we get into that, we want to quickly put a pause for you guys to write any of your questions down below, because if you've been following along and anything's popped in your head, we'd love to help answer you. Let us know. Nate, if you have anything to add, you can totally do that now before we go into the next section for them.
Yeah, just, think about, if you're currently set up for anything online, like we kind of want to know if you have any type of resources right now that you're using, or if you're just kind of doing the wait and see method, right? A lot of our current following, a lot of trainers that we've been talking to, they're kind of waiting for things to reopen, right? And you have to remember, we've kind of talked about this, and you can check our other video in our group about the future of the industry. But essentially, you have to have some resource that you can sell to clients and get clients in and continue to train them online. So we just want to know if you have something like that. So just, comment below, let us know in like 1 to 2 sentences what you currently have. And if you don't have anything, just say, no, I don't have anything. And that'll just kind of give us a sense of, where you're at and what you're kind of looking to accomplish here.
Everyone has a base starting point. Everyone has sometimes a restarting story. I know we
Right.
have a
Yeah,
restarting story, both Nate
absolutely.
and I. So don't feel pressure if that's where you're at as well, because we're here to help everyone. We've both been newbies into wanting to transition. And
Absolutely.
that's kind of what this is all for, is for you guys to know that we want to be your trusted leaders in this. And
Hmm.
we want to build the sense of they know where to take me because they've been doing this for years and they have all the answers. So before we just get into that, one thing we want to talk about is the future of the industry. And
Absolutely.
that's very important right now and where we're at in today's market. So
Mhm.
one thing that we're looking into is the future of the studios with brand equity. And then on the other side is studios without brand equity. And kind of like, where does that put you? So first thing is there's a lot of studios that we know of, or the big box gyms like 24. They just came out with that ridiculous video. Okay. We all saw it.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff in Hong Kong with the plastics.
Mhm.
You know, how is that
Yeah.
going to affect people wanting to come in and their gym experience? Is that
Right.
going to deter people for a little while? Maybe just avoiding it altogether, just working out at home for another whole year until all of it goes away. So there's going to be a lot of dips and hits that you're going to be seeing just in the big box studios because they have corporate guidelines and they have
Mhm.
something to follow. Then you have people who are mom and pop studios who don't have that, and they're going to be coming it up on their own. It's
Right.
going to be a little bit difficult because they're going to have to do all the external research instead of having the internal department to do that for them, to send it out to all their corporate offices, whether it's, you know, a little studio or if it's a big box gym. Now you have Tom, Dick, and Nancy, owners of Little Susan Studio. Okay, I don't know why I keep saying Susan. That's her. That's our person's name today. I guess that's just our example name. But you know, that's her studio or that's their ownership group. But they don't know the next steps to take, so they're
Right.
constantly one step behind, and people are now at more of risk to getting sick. Not saying that they will, but it's just that the risk is a little bit higher because they're
Mhm.
constantly playing catch up. What do you
Right.
do if you're immunocompromised and you're 45? Probably not going to come back for a little while. Or you're 65 and you're healthy, but you're in that age group where it's going to affect you deeper if you just get it as a cold. And that may put you out of work for 3 weeks, which you can't afford because no one wants to be out of work for 3 weeks, let alone
Exactly.
3-4 months. So where does that place you? And what's your future looking like if you don't come back to a job?
Exactly. And that's what you have to really be thinking about. We're just trying to get you to kind of start thinking about these questions because
Mhm.
this is going to be kind of a long-term effect in the industry. It's not just going to be overnight. Like you're seeing companies not going back to offices and realizing they can work remotely, right? So they're going to probably want to have that remote touch point as an option when they're at home. So that's where you can approach them, right? But you have to think, do you have some kind of online offering? Do you have some kind of setup to allow you to get to these people? And what's your income plan when we're talking about the studios having half the number of people coming in, maybe half the attendance, people not trusting the marketplace? What's your target income going to be? And what are you going to do when the unexpected happens, and how are you going to rebound for that in this kind of market? That's what you need to be thinking about in this changing marketplace. And you need to constantly thinking about, how can I adapt? What can I do?
Exactly. So there are another questions that you need to be thinking about is like what happens, like you were saying, when the unexpected happens to us.
Mhm.
Huge. Another thing is how long does it take you to rebuild your client base?
Right, that's a good one.
Currently, when you lose a client, how long does it take for you to replace that client plus one?
Right.
Usually that's what we want when we lose a client is we want one and then plus one for the profit. So we're to cover our dip and then maybe a little extra so that we're making more. But what happens when you don't even have that process? Do you even have a process? Like, big question there. And then right now, how is the ceiling currently limiting or personally affecting your ability to grow? So now that we are in this online space, are you able to even grow your business? Has it allowed you to find new clients, or has it inhibited you from even moving
Right.
forward and you're kind of just stuck in this? Well, as soon as they let us back in, I'll be good to go again. Where are you? And that's what we really want to know, because having a process is key, and if you don't have a process, you're going to be left behind. So we don't want you to be left behind. We have some ideas for you. We want to talk about what the idea of off the floor income is. Huge concept. A lot of trainers are starting to adapt it into their business flow, but not enough of them, because we were all hit and almost hung to dry when this all went through. So,
Right.
quick ideas how you can right now build revenue streams without physically being there. That's kind of what we're presenting the idea of. So, while you're out grocery shopping, how can someone buy from you still without you selling to them? That's the idea. One way to do that is through online brand partnerships. You can do that through online challenge groups as well. So people are paying you to join your group. So
Right.
throughout the days, they're in it. They've already paid you in advance. Affiliate programs. So if you can partner with anybody, I'm partnered with a bikini company. I know Nate's partnered with, I think, a sock company as well. So can you get a discount for you and then your followers to purchase, and then you get a little payout every time they make a purchase? Your curated specific content. So if you have higher level content that you're coming up with, can you house it somewhere where people pay you
Right.
to come and access that, like a paid Facebook group? Another opportunity that we can show you what to do. So very cheap to start up, but still paying you on the back end. And then any type of specialty program. Do you have a quick 7-day fix? Do you have a 14-day fix? Do you have a 30-day program? Do you have a 6-month program? What can you offer them in a very easy to purchase online way? Do you have an ebook, something like that you've created that's personally on your own? And then last thing would be any additional pipeline offerings. So do you have supplements? Do you have equipment? Do you have anything else that you can put your brand on that you can sell one-offs while you're not there? So that's basically the idea of off the floor income. Nate, did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we want to get you
Yeah.
thinking about, is kind of understanding that, the time on the floor now is going to be even more limited than it was before. You're not going to probably be able to have as many people to pull from. So you're going to have to find other ways to make money outside of just that one-on-one time with your client, because maybe that one-on-one is going to transition to something else, right? And that's what some of these other offerings are. And just kind of as fitness professionals, we kind of have to get away from this notion that, partnering with some type of streaming service, we're somehow giving up control of like our clients' results, right? And when you actually think about this is kind of like one of those common myths in the industry. It's really kind of, that control element of like, oh, I have to do every element all the time. And you'll see this with, new entrepreneurs or new business owners as well. I have to do every single task, and they run the company or that business into the ground because they're trying to do everything all the time. Now, we're not saying that you should just relinquish all the control and just automate everything and not do anything and not be a part of your business. No, what we're saying is there's elements that you should automate and there's elements that you should be focused on. You should focus on your higher end clients that are going to be there with you longer term and that you can do more of that one-on-one connection with. And then some of your more general fitness clients can be in more of your online groups where you can help them with some elements of their fitness, but maybe they're not fully engaged and not fully willing to commit to that higher price point, but you can still get that revenue in on the front side with just some level of getting them moving in the right direction. And then longer term, you can actually, if you're good about this, lead them up into some of your higher tier offerings. So that's kind of what we want you to get in the mindset of, is how are you creating almost like a journey for this client to go through, right? It's not just one training session or one program. It's now a larger transformation. And this allows you to work with people in that longer term frame of like years, as opposed to just, well, I was with this trainer for a couple months and then I moved and I couldn't do it anymore. You're not necessarily losing that control. It's more developing it in a new way.
Exactly. So one thing we wanted just to kind of focus on was the mission, and, don't
Absolutely.
reinvent the wheel. You guys here,
Exactly.
that's Nate was saying. There's a couple of strategies and things that we want you to really focus on when you're coming up with creating that as a brand, and you're creating not just a little version of what you have to give to people, let's say, and here's this little video, here's my little tip of the day, here's my
Right.
mobility movement. You're creating
Right.
an entire lifestyle for them to fit into. There's program checks, there's water intake, there's nutrition, there's
Right.
mindset checks, there's lifestyle checks, there's happiness checks. There's things that are all encompassing, and that's what you build in your brand, because we are
Exactly.
more than just trainers teach fitness. We can
Right.
teach
Right.
so much more, and we can inspire past that, and that's what your brand platform is here for. Now, my question, to you guys is, how many personal trainer certifications right now are currently helping you with your return on investment? Because if, let's say, I went and go today, order a yoga certification, and now I'm a yoga instructor in 3 months, is that really going to make me more money? Or is it really going to make me a specialist that's going to have more income because of that? Or realistically, is investing in internal brand creation and marketing training courses going to be your best way to move from the rut that you're in and start profiting on your content. That's what we want you to start doing. Is we want you to start taking all the ideas that you've had in the back of your brain for creating a greater program, and now putting that to paper and coming up with a way to start inviting the right people to purchase that. So it's not just marketing it to everybody, it's marketing to the right people, funneling it in the right direction. So that way, the specific people who have the want to go through that transformation buy, and they keep buying. Because like Nate was saying too, it's not just a one-time buy, it's how do you get them to keep buying in your pipeline year after year. That's what you're trying to create, and that's longevity in your business. So I think we just have a couple quick questions that we wanted to offer or ask you guys in the comments. I think Nate, you had that for them.
Yeah, so we just kind of want to, get a sense of where you're at. How many of you would actually like to learn these skills and how to actually access and use kind of a toolkit for creating your own personalized brand? Is that something you're interested in? Is that something you really want to learn, right? When we're thinking about these skill sets, oftentimes we're just like, okay, well, where do we start, right? And that's why we've kind of really come up with this 5-day mentorship program that we're going to go through and kind of outline today. It's really exciting. We've kind of been spending a couple years just putting together all of this type of content, and we found like, okay, trainers need to get online. How do you get online? And in 5 days, we're going to teach you the basics on how to get set up, how to kind of use some of the resources from our network that we've been using, and how to get it set up very quickly with kind of the lowest overhead possible. Because it doesn't matter if you're getting set up and it takes you 5 years to do, you're going to be left behind in the market. It's about speed and execution right now, and just using the skills that you already have, and then just kind of partnering with the streaming service so that you can get some offer out and then get in front of clients as fast as possible.
Having something of your own, that's the biggest thing here. Because
Exactly.
you can be fired at any point, but
Right.
you will never have this taken away from you. So that's the beauty of it. So I think, Nate, you want to go ahead and start off the introduction of what we
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
come up with?
Yeah, so we're just going to kind of outline kind of what the days include so you can see if this is a good fit for you. Day one is going to consist of kind of time blocking and scheduling. This is really important. We kind of take this for granted in not just the training industry and in the fitness industry as a whole, but just in general. Where it's like, oh, I kind of know what my schedule is going to be. I'm just going to show up and things will happen. And that's like the worst way to run a business ever, because then that's how you get overloaded, right? So day one, we're going to cover just really scheduling tools and time blocking so that you can have time back in your day without sacrificing that income. Super important, focusing on the right things, doing what matters the most. So you're getting those hours in the back end of your day and then still making the money that you need to keep moving forward.
Awesome. And then on day two, we're going to teach you how to nail your niche. So we want you to be targeting the right people who are most likely going to buy from you. So you're not going to be spreading your word out willy-nilly to 500 people who aren't going to buy from you. Let's target it to the 100 people who are. That's going to be on day two.
Exactly. And then day three is going to be setting up your social media platforms and just kind of covering marketing resources, just so that you have kind of a system that's efficient. And so you're not just stuck in that kind of content creation mode all the time and wasting too many hours where you could otherwise be in front of clients, or just having those hours back in your day.
Exactly. And then on day four, we're going to teach you how to outreach and set up all your follow-up. So that way, now that you have content going out, how do you follow up with everybody who's commenting, getting into your group and wanting more information from you, and doing it in a very strategic way where you're not burning people out from your reach outs, and you're doing it effectively to where they actually want to continue to buy from you.
Yeah, and then our final day is kind of day five, which will be our kind of virtual coaching tools, almost what we call it the business in a box, just so that you can complete the build out of your online brand and then just get an offer out, your first program, and just start making money in weeks instead of months. That's crucial. You have to have some type of offer out, some type of package offer that people are going to gravitate to, and then just understand how to get it in front of them. That's really important.
The one thing I really want to note on is that this 5-day mentorship is about three solid years of consistent learning and trial and error from Nate and I. So you're getting the best of the best, what's worked not only for us, but at a higher level within our industries. Nate has worked for top recording companies and bigger end studios, as well as I've been working in the industry, and we've learned a lot of tips and tricks on what actually works best, how to set it up the fastest, where to go first. And we did it in the perfect strategic timeline to this is what you need. Then you do this, then you go here. So you're set up for that. Because if you try to do it in any other mixed up way, it's going to be very confusing. And I wish that someone had given me this little business in a box 3 years ago, because if they did, I'd be making 10 grand a month right now. And I'm not joking, because there are people in our company who are making, in our team, who are making $13,000 a month, not a year, a month from this business. So we want to get you to that point, and we want to get everyone who we can to that point, because we know it's capable and you're capable.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what this is just a really distilled version of how to get online as fast as possible. So you're not just spending too much money on overhead. We constantly see a lot of fitness professionals, oh, I got to film everything, I got to do all these things. And that can be part of your brand longer term. But in the short term, you need to stop the bleeding. You need to get back into the market. You need to have an offer out. And this is how to get there as fast as possible.
So if you want to go ahead and join us, please let us know. We're going to be mentioning and putting out the link to join that in the next few weeks here. So as soon as we get some specifics, we'll go ahead and let you guys know. But this is the time to start reaching out so we can get you on the invite list, because the training is just getting wrapped up here and ready to get released. We're super excited. DM Nate or I, depending on who has brought you to the group or who brought you to watch this recording, because that's going to be the person who will follow up with you in the long run. But you guys will all be doing this together, which is really unique. So this is our community group for all coaches. Feel free to share this video with anyone who you know is also potentially in the same struggles. We're happy to help them. Please schedule your consultation call with us in the next 2 weeks, so that way we can get you set up in any of your questions. And also, if you had any questions about the lesson above, we'd be happy to get a set up a personal call with you to kind of dive into your business to see if we can help you in any way, or if this is something that may be the best move for you to make in the long run.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, well, have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.